for my audience that what is audit?
Okay, so audit is nothing but it's a CXO has appointed internal audit for actually reviewing or assessing the financial statements for its accuracy and fairness of that statement. So it gives assurance to the stakeholders along with the CXOs of the company to rely on those work of paper of finance. So that is what the specification in terms of business audits. When it comes to information security audits, it is all about the controls or frameworks which has been as far as the best practices are concerned, that has been implemented or not.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB show. Today we are here back with the third episode of our series International Women's Day. Today we have Komal Vora with us. She is Vice President Information Security Auditing. She has an overall experience of 22 years in the field of cybersecurity, auditing, governance and risk. Today we are going to discuss on the topic of auditing and beyond. Let's hear her out.
I'm ready.
क्या ready हो गया?
Hey Komal, welcome
Hi.
to the GB show.
Thank you so much.
First
for
of
inviting me.
all, very happy Women's Day to you.
Thank you so
and,
much.
As you know, we are celebrating this Women's Month. Though in my first episode, I announced every day is Women's Day, but still we thought that at least we can celebrate this month. And thanks for agreeing and giving your time
Pleasure,
for this occasion. And for my audience, when we need to start, so we talk about 22 plus years in the industry, and you have specifically spend your time in the information security audits, right? So here, as we have titled it, audit and beyond. So let's start with, for my audience, that what is audit?
Okay, so audit is nothing but it's a CXO has appointed internal audit for actually reviewing or assessing the financial statements for its accuracy and fairness of that statement. So it gives assurance to the stakeholders along with the CXOs of the company to rely on those work of paper of finance. So that is what the specification in terms of business audits. When it comes to information security audits, it is all about the controls or frameworks which has been as far as the best practices are concerned, that has been implemented or not, how they are effectively working. So that is what is in terms of information security audit. So this basically this two ball game.
Okay, only two audits, or what are different type of audits? Because when we have heard about someone talks about that it's internal audit, it's an external audit, statutory audit, right? So there are different type of audit. I would like you to go in bit depth and tell me different type of audits which we can learn from.
So in internal audit, that's a department within the organization itself. So that the CXOs, we have an audit plan. And then basis the audit plan, which is agreed with the stakeholders of different departments, we schedule our audits based on the risk appetite of that organization. So that is how that has been framed, and then we schedule it annually. And that is what is internal audit. That is of two types. Again, business audits and information security audits. So in business audit, all different departments across the organizations are audited unit-wise. So that is one thing. And in information security, all the domains of information security in terms of general controls, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of OS, databases, network devices, and then cyber security as a whole framework and its implementation, as well as the department effectiveness. So all those things and features are covered in the information security audit. And what we do is, as an information security auditor also, we need to participate in business audits to support them for reviewing the automated controls. So that is, again, we give assurance. So that is parcel of our internal audit. Then when we have external audits, that is now, say, RBI mandates certain audits. They want independent audits, or they want certain N-panel auditors who are selected. Those need to come in the organization and perform independent audits. So those are all external audits, which we say. And now the regulator has become very strict for the financial sector. So each and every, whether it is NPCI, whether it is UDI, whether it is RBI, all come with different kinds of audit, and throughout the year those audits are continuously done with help of consultants as well as certain N-paneled auditors. So that is all external audit. Then we have statutory audit, that is annual audits, which each company based on their turnovers, they need to, it's mandatory for them to actually showcase and go through all the financials of PL, profit and loss arrangements. Everything needs to be showcased, and basis which it is published after the sign off of the statutory auditors. So that is also again external. They are also selected, and every 3 years statutory auditors needs to be changed. That is also one more requirement of the statutory audit. So they cannot continue. So if we are selecting any big four, they cannot repeat again after, means for the 4th year we need to change.
Okay.
So that is also another mandatory audit. Then we have concurrent audits also. Now, concurrent audit is a continuous process within the whole organization across business, along with information security, which is continuously, certain controls are mandated by the regulators, and that has to be continuously reviewed by again third-party auditors, concurrent auditors.
Okay.
So this many variety
so
of
many audits. I think, of course, my audience will be loving it. There are maybe few people are always confused that what are the different type of audits.
Sorry, I forgot one more. So
Sure.
certain times new technology comes on, new projects has been implemented. So the management wants to understand, how it went, what is the return of investment of that project, how effective is that controls, that post audits. So pre and post audits of projects also happen for the organization, flagship projects for the organization. So that is also another type of audit which the internal audit team, or maybe certain specialized platforms are there, then the external teams also enter in to review those work.
Okay, fair enough. And specifically, out of all these categories, if I talk about information security audit, like, okay, so when you are going to an organization from the business perspective, what kind of expectations they have from an information security auditor?
See, whenever information security auditors enters into business audits, so that the assurance which they require is whether their automated controls are firstly designed appropriately. Are there any gaps, any risk is there associated with the technology perspective, and if there are risks, how we are mitigating, what are the compensating controls which we must have implemented or plugged in, or we need to do it in future for the actions to be taken to mitigate the risk. So that is what is the assurance which is required by business, because technology being a very niche area, and each platform or each security product is different. So the CXOs require that this needs to be deep dived and reviewed in assessment and then given the reports. So we publish those reports with how the design has been made, how effective it is, and then any gaps are there identified in terms of gap analysis, so that we recommend in the reports, and then those things are mitigated with help of some action plans agreed with the stakeholders.
Okay, amazing. And I think most of the time, the people I'm talking to, they always confuse, like, in an organization, there is a governance model, and there is a risk management team, right? And then there is an internal audit team, and then there is someone from external coming in. But if we have governance and risk management in place, what specifically audit vertical do, and how these different verticals work together, or any insights on that?
Yeah, so like governance is a very critical part of any organization, and that has to be there. That is a top-down approach always. And if it is weak, then the whole organization, goes for a toss. Certain frauds may happen, or some weakness may happen, which may incur business cost also, or loss to the organization. So governance is a very crucial part. So as a auditor, we have to actually review their work also. We actually, as an auditor, as if I specialize in information security audits, I also give inputs in the committees. In terms of, I review those committee meetings, the agendas, and if anything is missing, or, gaps are identified or risk is there, we try to give our input so that, those things are also strengthened, because that is also part of means any audit would have governance as a scope of work for that particular department. So all the committees of that particular department are audited thoroughly and deep dive to understand what is the constitution of that committee, who all are there, like if I say, the Information Security Council is there, who all are representing it, compliance department is representing, legal is representing, HR is representing, IT is representing, security, so they drive security department. So these are the, CRO has to be there. So, who all are the MD is there or not. So all those things we try to, see who are the constitution of that, how it happens, how regularly it happens, whether it is quarterly or monthly, depending on the criticality. If something new comes in as a risk in terms of regulator mandating, so then again that is called a so ad hoc committee meetings. But periodically it happens, like Security Council happens every quarter. So that has to be presented. All the crucial activities which happen in the department has to be presented to the CXOs for their inputs and approvals. The policies also which are defined and agreed with the stakeholders has to be first approved in the committee meetings, and then it goes to the all the stakeholders, and it is issued to all. So that is how annual reviews and all those things are done. So governance is a very critical part, and as an auditor we have to review this full complete process from design level till the charter of the meetings, committee meetings also reviewed. Okay, what was the objective, whether we are trying to achieve that objective or not in terms of governance. So those all things and aspect is reviewed. The skills of the people who are entering in that platform or that forum is appropriate or not, how the inputs are given, whether those actions are given by the CXOs have been followed up or not. So those things also we try to ensure, or they have missed it. So those kind of thing we review in terms of governance. In terms of risk, each department has their own risk registers. So as a business I would have my own risk register, which because I know as a specialist of business I would know my risk in terms of the product or the customer or whatever is the requirement or regulatory requirement. So that we put it in one file, and then we try to assess it every year. Annually it is mandatory. Along with wherever there are gaps, there has to be some action plan, and then that has to be mitigated. So that is another area which each department does. But when as an audit we review that whole complete process of design, framework, how effective it is in terms of reviewing those risks, and how it is mitigated, and how beneficial it will be to the organization. So actually as an internal auditor, we have more responsibility and accountability, because we have, as an organization, they have set some design of framework, and that whether it is effectively working and the controls have been implemented, that is the biggest role of the auditor. Because certain times it happens like there is pressure from higher levels, and then they pressurize that critical things if put in audit report, it may they tell us, okay, oh, if you put this in the audit report, RBI would fine us because this is something which is. So those kind of pressures definitely comes in, but as I said, it's a very big responsibility of we reviewing, and then how we publish, what we write. It should not be like a small observation or gap. We highlight it so big that it shows as if nothing is there in the organization as a control, but it's not the case. So how we present that particular gap, risk, and how we try to give that clarity in the report, that is also very, very important. So as an auditor, this is the most critical part, where the full management relies on the internal auditors to give a fair and very transparent opinion. And then basically then internally the stakeholders decide how to manage those critical risk, and then follow-ups are done by the internal auditors. So we keep on because business people and anyone who is in that particular first line, second line or third line of defense, all three lines are very busy doing day-to-day business activities, but auditors come in and ensure that they always remind them, you need to do it, this is the deadline, please implement it, otherwise the regulator may fine us. So that kind of so internal audit is a very integral part of governance and risk, which help the organization to ensure compliance and assurance, and go ahead.
Awesome. I think this will give a fair clarity for all new budding auditors as well as people, because if you see today the academia and when we are reaching to the college, everyone want to be a cybersecurity expert or they want to be ethical hacker, but no one is thinking about the lines like governance, risk, and auditor, and no one is teaching this in the colleges or in the curriculum as well. So I think this people will get a fair idea from here. But if let's say a young professional watching this specifically, what kind of things or best practices you will like to tell them, that how they can be a good auditor and what they need to learn or what kind of prerequisites they need to have?
So each audit is a different, or each business audit or even information security audit is a different ball game altogether. You always learn. So what we need to do is, before we do or start with the audit, first we understand the scope of work by discussing with them, having a walkthroughs with them, with the stakeholders, to understand the scope of work, the risk of that particular department, whoever you are auditing. And then basically you define the scope, agree with them, and actually before starting the audit, you have to first get trained yourself or do some research. So that, because see, when we are auditing someone, they already are specialized people, whoever are auditees. So whenever we are auditing them and we are trying to give them, impart knowledge to them, we have to know more first.
Yeah.
So we have to, do certain research or upgrade ourselves. Maybe different platforms come in, different products come in of that, or different business requirements come in. So that we need to understand first. Okay, what is that business? Because a auditor may not be specializing in all domains. So we are not, but when we try to audit someone, we have to do that research and homework. Then only we can do and start the audit, so that you can give a value addition to the auditees. Because it's always the case that you're trying to teach someone who is already doing work since years, like 20-25 years people might be working, and you as an auditor come and try to showcase them that there are gaps. No, that cannot be. But you have to show them what is the return of investment, in terms of when they will implement the controls, what will help them, how effective will the process, what is the risk which they will mitigate when they will put that controls in place, so that that will help them. So they should not think that we are come here as an auditor to hit them like a teacher. That's not our objective. It is always the thing that we try to do a value addition which will help the organization. It is a team effort actually. So first we need to upgrade ourselves, update ourselves, and then we try to review that work, so that we can actually give a value addition which the company or management will agree, and business will also agree. So that if they say, okay, yeah, when we did audit and it was a value addition, or we certain business audits, the savings are also happening, because certain losses are there which happens because of some process which is continuously running. But if certain re-engineering of that process happens, then there are cost savings also. So that also is a very good value addition in business audits, where we do. Then we automate certain things which are manual processes. Huge number of days are gone, our efforts are gone of the resources. So that may help reduce. So those kind of stuff, when we try to recommend, that really helps the business or any IT department, any department wherever we are auditing, and it helps the organization in turn.
Amazing. And I think you specifically hit the nail by saying that updating yourself,
Yes,
right? So
that is mandatory.
How Komal Vora updates herself, because I think the cybersecurity is evolving scene, and day in, day out, there are new things coming in, and as well as technology, right?
Correct.
So then there is AI, then there is robotic, then there is a financial system, chatbots, a lot of things.
Yes.
How you update yourself?
So what I do is I do research on Google and get certain materials for that particular technology. I read certain books. I also enroll myself for certain specialized training from the experts. So those kind of stuff I go on doing. I also update my team, because along with me, my team also has to be updated. So we plan our schedule for the whole year, and we try to, and we ask interest of people whom they want to be into, or they want to specialize in certain particular. Say someone wants to specialize in OS audit, operating system, all different kind of. There are also different flavors, Linux, Windows based. So people have certain flavors. Databases are different. So we ask them those platforms which you want to work. So they say, then we put the special product vendors, we try to pull them and get trained on hands-on workshops. Okay. So we do hands-on workshops also. I also get trained along with my team. So that is how we try to do it. But self-learning is very important. It is not that every time everyone will give you a ready-made plate for training. So because it's a cost involved. So there is a budget for each team and each resource, so that becomes a constraint. But what we do is, whenever I come across any material as such, or any information which is shared within our networks, that we share with the team, so that they go through it, read it, and they get abreast with at least the jargons. Because when we try to audit someone, if you don't understand the jargons which they are speaking, and you are like silently you are just listening, they won't even respect you, nor even listen to you, nor agree to whatever recommendation or any observations you give. Okay. So we have to be much more ahead from them, because they specialize and they are the actual expert doing that work since so many years, and then we come and audit. So we have more responsibility and accountability that we
You need to have
we
an
have
upper edge.
upgraded. Yeah, upper edge.
Upper edge.
And always hackers also, when we say, they always come with new ideas, attacks. So we have to understand the modus operandi. So I try to go on net. I have certain websites which I go in and try to continuously review that. Like as a newspaper we read, I also continuously do this research. Okay, what has happened in the market, how things are happening, or any attacks have happened. What is modus operandi of that? Basis which we take learning. What are the gaps? So that kind of stuff we try to we share with each other. We have peer meetings weekly within the audit team, and then we share all those things so that the new budding auditors also understand this. Okay, these kind of gaps are also there, which due to certain misconfigurations, certain overlooking of oversight happening. So that is possible. So so those things help when we try to share these things. What I saw in audit, I share, so others will also share. So it is an enhanced knowledge across all sectors whenever we do. So that's fun. Actually, I love it because it's a challenging thing, because giving a value add to someone who already specialized and they agree, accept, and then management also appreciates. And that night I'm very happy because
that gives
we
you a
did a good
kick,
job.
right?
Yes, that I did some contribution to that organization.
Fair enough. What is the last training you have attended?
I just attended last weekend, the AWS. It was a refresher course.
Okay.
I had done during the COVID, but I had to refresh it because new things are tools and modules are getting added in that. So secure. They also enhancing, the vendors also enhancing their own product and security too. So that I had to update. Yes. So that is what I just did. AWS Cloud Security module, Advanced Security module.
Awesome.
Of 2 days workshop, hands-on it was.
Okay. And favorite website, because you mentioned you go to many websites. One of the favorite websites?
I usually go to NIST and even RBI's website, and there are certain news of hackers which go on coming.
The hacker news. And
so that I continuously go and check. And I have also notified myself for certain events, and whenever it happens, it hits me. So I actually go and see. So those kind of thing I have subscribed, so that it continuously feeds me with this kind of update. So whenever I have time, I just ensure that I go through that article and understand, so that I'm abreast with the hackers, because they collaborate and we don't collaborate. Everyone works in isolation.
Now we have started collaborating, and this is our collaboration.
Right? but I'm saying usually the tendency of in the organization also, if we see in the audits, our department doesn't talk to the second department. We become, as an auditor, we become a bridge actually between the management and within the department also, because they don't talk to each other. They have that maybe ego or whatever. But we bring all the business, IT, as well as the management on one platform to make and understand what are the risks and gaps. That becomes the best part and value addition.
Awesome.
Because they really don't talk. We mandate them that they need to come at this date, this time, and everyone need to discuss this risk and how we will handle this as a team. So that is, I think, is a value addition.
Amazing. And if I, in a nutshell, I brief the 22 years of your experience, and if I ask you to give me 3 learnings, from your experience in IS audit, what will be those for all auditors? Yeah.
So in the learning, I would say first is you have to upgrade and update continuously. There is no second thought. Whenever new technology or new products or new businesses entering, you need to understand everything and then go ahead and do the audit. That is first thing. Always do your homework, then only go for audit. Secondly, anytime whenever we do audits, we have to keep all the evidences and all the documents in place, and records has to be maintained for particular years, because that is regulated and mandated. So that we need to ensure that those things are there, proper archival backup, everything is there, so that anytime regulator comes in, if some fraud happens and then they question us, because that also happens, because if any fraud happens, the first one people who are questioned is the internal audit. How come we didn't highlight this, or how this was missed, or how this happened? So they want to understand that. So we have to showcase and give assurance. So our proof of work on scope of work has to be very clear cut, with what samples we had picked up, where things are, that clarity in minute detail we have to maintain. So that is one thing. Then always keep updated in terms of the framework and best practices which we have. so that, and they also update, the organization or units, whoever, like ISACA is there, then NIST, all those keep on updating and upgrading. So we also need to, ensure that ISO is there, 27001. So everyone has to, in all frame of standards, you need to update, and then you hit the any audits. So that really helps. So basically, this is my input.
So as we are recording this special on Women's celebration of the Women's Day and the Women's Month, which we are calling it. So as a woman in all your 22 years of career, right? Have you ever faced a challenge where you feel like, okay, the men have advantage here?
Yeah,
I don't. So
absolutely.
and if you have those challenges, how you overcome that? So anything you like to share with us?
Sure. So majorly what happens is, as I said, any business or wherever IT or any department, whichever we are, auditing, they always do that particular work in a fashion. So when we come and do or we highlight the gaps, first time it is shocking for them. So they'll start abusing also certain times.
Oh my God.
So we have to actually, bring to the notice that, they need to professionally behave, and, we should not, we should not get angry, because we have to keep a cool. They are angry, but we have to keep a cool. So people management skill also is a very important aspect of audit, because until unless that is not matured, you won't be able to, convince the opposite person about the gaps and ask or request them to actually implement and mitigate. So that is one thing. So usually what we say, that experience usually in any organization, whether it is multinational or Indian, that you will face always. That, there is a pushback, resistance to change. So that is something which each auditor, not as only women, but every time it is to be handled. Even males are given left, right and center. So that is not something like male or female related gender wise, but usually audit per se as a profile, when you try to highlight something as a gap, they take it in a wrong way. So that particular forum needs to be managed and handled very sensitively and maturely, so that, the opposite person, auditee, takes it in a right way and it is taken as a value add, and that actually helps the organization to take it ahead as a team, rather than taking as a, bringing that. So that is the main thing. So we have to handle it maturely, and certain times, you are challenged also for we not knowing certain things. Maybe, we do our research, but maybe that is not enough. So when we try to showcase certain observations, we may be factually a bit incorrect, because they specialize, we don't, because they will also do their homework, right? When we try to hit, they will also come back with homework. So we have to face that challenge very sensitively, and too much of effort goes, because certain times, you need to do certain homework, once the opposite person also challenge. So now again we have to come up with our, work or inputs, so that they will actually accept. So that is something which is challenging. It is fun also, and how we write it in terms of documentation or report. That is also one more critical part, because when the CXOs read or directors read, at that level when it goes, it has to be very crisp, precise, and to the point. And it should not happen that small point is elaborated like a mountain. It should not be the case. So you have to, in terms of criticality, high, medium, low, that also, it is a debatable and subjective matter. So that also you need to. So one is that close relation with the auditees is most important, people management. That is the key, I think, and that is a big challenging thing, which in any environment you go, you need to face and handle it maturely.
Fair enough. And as you are working in the information security domain as well, and we have seen very few leaders in this particular space. Like, if today I need to count in Mumbai, top CISOs, right, handfully out of 100 there will be 4 or 5 women which are out there. How you think we can have this diversity eliminated, and we'll have more ratio of women leaders in cybersecurity space coming in? Anything on your thoughts?
See, actually, female comes with a huge responsibility. They have to manage their career as well as family. So they have a particular phase of life. That's why, they take a back step in terms of any professional career progression. That is the only reason I think, females take a lesser role than taking a huge responsibility in certain phase of life. But if I see now myself, I have now all my responsibility. My children have grown. Everything is good. Everything is settled. So now I can enter in the way I can give, because InfoSec demands real time. Even working at Saturday, Sunday, late nights, because any incident happens, we have to give time, and there is no second thought. We can't let it go, because regulator is on our head. Regulator also demands within 4 hours incidents needs to be reported. So that kind of availability and responsible accountability is required for these kind of InfoSec positions. So maybe that's why I think in India male dominant positions are there. So maybe that's why they feel that because of their pregnancy or certain things, they may take leaves and all for their homework and all. So that's why I think that kind of thing is there. But I think now the things have changed, time has changed. And even certain organizations are actually ensuring that even women are also at higher levels. So that kind of diversity has been built. It's mandated. So that's I have also seen in recently where they actually write in the job profile that women leaders are
coming there. But I think many MNCs or big banks
they're
are
mandating, yes, and they need that proportion. So they are promoting that. So I'm very happy that even they are coming up, and even the male leaders also now have accepted that women can do multifunction, and they are more proactive and very intelligent also, so that they can actually prove themselves. So
they are good decision makers, and
absolutely, and a good leader where they can guide people, and actually as a team we grow and build ahead. So I think things are changing, but
I think that's where I can vouch it for me, for Cyberfred, specifically me. I'm traveling. You have seen more often I travel, and that's because just my wife is supporting us, and she manages all HR, finance, operations for us.
So she's a backbone.
I can go out and
explore more,
do marketing and sales kind of role. So that is, I think women's they are good decision makers, and I think I have even my whole leadership team is all women.
Correct. I know. I've seen.
But anyways, I think great insights, Komal. This has been a great episode where you have covered audit in depth, and I am sure my audience must be loving this conversation which we are having. So last segment where I will ask you to talk to my audience directly, like for all the young women who are watching in here, how you will advocate the career in audit, means why they should choose audit as a career. Maybe all to you.
Sure. So I think audit is a profile where you can explore different platforms and different environments, different sector, which will help you gain knowledge also as an individual, as well as you will be able to do value addition to the same for the organization. So that is really good, and it's fun if you love this. So, but research is always needed. So research has to be done, upgradation has to be done, and then you do a value addition. When that value addition is appreciated by the management, that really satisfies you that you have contributed your bit in that. So this role is like a management role, where management is appointing you and want assurance from you as a lead that whatever is happening in the organization is up to the mark and as required by the regulators in terms of compliance. So I think this is a very good role, and as I said, when in my early career of my life, this audit also demands at certain time late sittings, but usually it is not the case. Means regularly you can time to time you can manage and you handle your own day-to-day work activities, so that you can finish on time and move home. But once you start maturing and going at higher positions, then that responsibility or late nights will come, and then the sky is the limit always. So that we always take the opportunity to handle it based on our career path.
Awesome.
So that is
amazing. I think Komal, it's a really privilege to have you on the show, and
pleasure.
I love each bit of the talking which we had. And as a last ritual, I have something for you which we like to give you as a token of appreciation. Thanks for joining in the show.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next Sunday. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.